Okay, now I'm going to talk to you about eyelashes. A lot of people really struggle with eyelashes, so I have some tips for you that will help. I always start with the outside corner of the eye. This is closer to the edge of the head, okay? And your eyelashes, instead of curving straight up, you want them to curve out a little bit first, okay? So I just do one. See how that's almost completely horizontal? It's pointing out that way. Then as they travel up the eye, then they start standing up a little bit taller. And I add a few big ones, kind of just spaced apart. A few long ones, okay? As you get to the iris, they start to get smaller, or you may just not even have them there, okay? And the thing about eyelashes is that they're thicker at the base and they're thinner at the end. They really kind of taper off at the end. So you can thicken some of these. And they tend to cluster. You have eyelashes that kind of stick together. Okay, see how they're thicker at the base and then they thin out. Another thing about eyelashes is that they're always growing in. So you have most of your lash line is filled in with little tiny lashes down here. That's what fills it in without your lashes looking too crazy over the top. My thing about lashes is you can really overdo it too easily. With makeup and mascara and Disney being so popular, we tend to just exaggerate those eyelashes and they look very natural. Okay, but I filled in my lash line. You can fill in your lash line with even just some shading or some short lashes. Now I'm going to add some kind of medium ones. And you don't want them to look too perfect, so you can add some that kind of go the wrong way, kind of are anomalies, to make it look a little more natural. Okay? So I would just say less is more, don't overdo it. You can always, it's more shading than it is lines. A lot of people think lashes are just a bunch of hard lines like that. It's really more about the shading and filling it in nearer to the lash line right here than adding a whole bunch of lines. Okay, now an eyebrow. So spacing of the eyebrow. I don't have an exact guideline. Maybe the width of the iris. So like this distance to this distance, okay? And your eyebrow needs to be at least the length of your eye, from here to here. At least that, shouldn't be any shorter. It can be longer. And you just give it a nice arch about the width of the eye, okay? Now towards the inside edge, where the nose is, the eyebrows tend to be a little bit bigger, and then they taper off and get skinnier towards the end. Now, of course, I'm drawing like a perfectly contoured eyebrow because that's what's in style, but obviously eyebrows can be all sorts of more natural than that. So once you have a good shape, then I just shade it in very smoothly, just a little bit darker than everything else. And then you want to give it some hair texture. So now you want to draw the individual hairs over the top and make sure they're not perfectly within this shape. You can have them come out of the shape a little bit. And again, like look at references that don't have a perfect eyebrow, okay? Some people's eyebrows, they start to point the other direction towards the end here. You don't want it perfectly contoured because that's not very natural looking. Okay, I know everyone thinks that perfect brows are natural, but they're really not. Everyone's eyebrows are made up of little stray lines. Okay, and that's how you do an eyebrow. One last thing to add a little more dimension to the eye socket is add a little bit of shading that connects the eye to the eyebrow. This is like the inside edge of like your nose will be right here. Okay, so this is the inside edge of your eye socket. Your eye socket is literally a hole in your head. So it's gonna have some shadows there, okay? You can also add a little bit of shading on this corner as well and connect that to the eyebrow. Remember, I'm using the side of my pencil lead, little circles, pressing very gently, pressing a little bit harder at a time. Most people naturally have a little bit of a crease under their eye or a bag under their eye. So you can fade that shading out there. Okay. And I think that's it.